Hey there guys, how's it going? Reaper here, back with another painting video. This time around we're doing the Necromancer from Zombicide Green Horde. We've moved on to the base game now pretty much because we've out of monsters for the Kickstarter. So now it's just base game monsters, and then we're going to move on to doing all the hero characters. Just for, solidarity, and I like completion. But we prime this in standard grey primer like we always do. And we are using green skin to do all of the skin. It's an orc, he's green. That's generally how it goes with orcs. Although I have noticed actually in some of the orcs I've seen in the concept art, they're like a pale blue skin, which is weird, to be honest. Like when I've ever seen orcs, they're green. I think Warcraft had some weird pale ones, but I'm gonna go with green because I like green. And we have almost finished all the green as well, as there's not masses of skin on this guy, not compared to the Abomination, which will be next. That thing is basically all skin. And there we go, that's skin done. Now we're moving on to the little piece of clothing he is wearing, which is alien purple. I wanted something, he's a necromancer, so I wanted something sort of regal and fancy. Purple is generally a royal colour, so it works quite well for a necromancer, as he is essentially royalty of death even. There we go, that is purple done. Now we're on to uniform grey, a colour which can't be seen that well when actually painting it, but on camera it actually shows up, which is odd. But this is for the furs over his back. I figured go for sort of a grey wolf look, so there's going to be grey furs on his back. Okay, that was it for the top layer of the fur. Now we're moving on to the inside, which is dungeon grey, which is another grey, but it is slightly darker than uniform grey. So it sort of has that variation, which you need. You can't have the whole thing the same colour. It will just look weird. There we go, that was it for the robe. Now we're moving on to skeleton bone, and that is basically for the two things in his hands. One of them could be a glass dagger, but I'm going for bone as it's a necromancer and it's an orc, so bone makes sense. But this is for the weird one thing, the staff and the things on his head. It's like he's got a weird sort of chin strap, bit of bone, and then he's got a animal skull on his head. We do also actually use skeleton bone on these straps on his feet, As it looks like he's got sort of like a bandage wrap around one of his feet, only one of them for some reason. But I figured skeleton bone looks quite good for that sort of thing. A lot more than leather brown would actually look for this. So quickly painted that one in, leaving the heel and the toes as green. And there we go. Next up, we've got leather brown, which I'm painting these in as leather brown, but I do come back and realize they're actually just sort of like metallic plates. So I'll do them in the metallic color. But he does have this sort of weird satchel, which is hanging off of these metallic things. So I've done that and his belt in leather brown. And of course he does actually have his chin strap, which is obviously a strap, so that's been painted up just to make it look, it looked weird if I didn't do that, as it would just look like a massive bone coming out of his chin. And this guy's supposed to be alive, so that would be extremely painful and would probably kill him quite quickly. And now we're moving on to Goblin Green, which is the first highlight of his skin. Or the only highlight of his skin. I don't like having just green with a green tone, because the way I paint my orcs in 40k like this, but I do add an extra layer after that one, but there's no real need for this as their muscles aren't as well defined as a 40k orc is. So I went with one extra highlight, which is Goblin Green, and this is just raised areas leaving the recesses. There we go, that is skin highlights done. Now we're moving on to Greedy Gold, and this is for all the metallics. So the two piercings on his belly and his, I want to say nipple tassels, but not quite the right word, but it works because that's basically what they are. They're just a solid chunk of metal. I've also done studs on his belt, and all of these weird metallic plates that he's wearing are also getting actually made gold instead of leather brown. That's it for all metallic done. Now we're moving on to pure red, and this is for the eyes, which actually kind of works with this one. Although they could be any color since he's alive. I also do the top of his pouch in this just to add a bit of variation. And now we're gonna finish off basically the whole color apart from the wash on his furs with an ash grey dry brush. This is just to add some variation and pick up all the edges of the fur. And that was it for the dry brushes. Now we're on to green tone for the skin, and this is I only paint the skin, so you do have to sort of take a bit more time with this instead of a normal wash where you just smother it on and hope for the best, because I don't want any green on that skeleton bone, as it will definitely stain it and make it look weird. Okay, now on to the other wash, which is dark tone, and that's literally everything else. Of course, when covering the skeleton bone with this color, try and keep it a bit more thin than you would on other areas, just so you still got that sort of bony color coming through, but it gives them more of a grimy look without staining it a pure black like it normally would if you left all of it on. There we go, and that is it for all the washes. Now we're on to the highlight of Alien Purple, as I want his robes to actually pop and stand out a bit, whereas if you use the black tone on purple, it dulls it down so much that you can't really tell that it's a nice vibrant purple. So just going over that and covering raised areas with the Alien Purple again. And of course, as with all washes, metallics just stop being metallic when you use them. So I'm going back over them and adding not a full covering, so I'm not covering the entire area, but a good chunk of it with the greedy gold again, just to push it back to being shiny. And that is it for the mini. Now we're just doing black base as we always did. And this was actually quite a quick mini. I was expecting a good hour and a half to 2 hours to actually get this thing done, but all in all, it's not including drying time, as that's for washes quite a while. It's about an hour of painting, so I'm quite impressed with that. And that is it. That is the finished model. There's some of the photos. There will be more on Instagram as always, but if you did enjoy, like and subscribe if you did, and I will catch you in the next one for the Abomination. See ya.